God and the state. Concept of God. For me, nothing is more real than God. If we infinitely divide matter, we will only find energy, which is identified with God as the essence and origin of all that exists. Total energy, like God, is infinite and, as such, cannot have limits. Total energy, like God, is eternal and therefore perfect. It neither increases nor decreases. The laws of the universe. Transformation is only possible through compliance with the laws of the universe. According to Armando Abdo Shaadi from Nuevo Leon, Mexico, God does exist, but it is as if he did not, because he does not intervene in human affairs. God has no relation to religions. These are inventions of men. You can believe whatever you want, it won't affect your life, but your internal and external behaviors are regulated by universal and immutable laws. If you don't follow them, you will destroy yourself. Period. The New York Times. The laws of the universe. The universe, that is, everything that exists, is governed by laws. The laws of God are infinite. Knowledge. All living beings have genetic knowledge that guides their organisms through their life cycles. Animals also acquire knowledge through experimentation. Humans, additionally, use our capacity for reasoning to deduce knowledge. Truth. Truth is absolute knowledge. Humans investigate to understand the laws of the universe, thereby getting closer to God. Life. Life is a form of energy in which all living beings individually participate. Life is not created but transmitted. The cells that give rise to a new being need to have prior life. The function of these cells is to provide the genetic instructions that the new being requires for its development. These genetic instructions are what make living beings different. Death. When we die, the organism stops functioning, releasing the vital energy that directly integrates into the total energy of the universe. All living beings lose their identity upon death, just as a molecule loses its identity when decomposed into its elements. Humans, when we die, only persist in the memory of those who remain alive. Religion. Humans have the ability to create imaginary beings and situations with our minds, which we share with our peers. The lack of knowledge led the first inhabitants of the planet to suppose that natural phenomena were the work of supernatural beings that needed to be worshipped to thank them for received benefits and offer sacrifices to appease their wrath. Today, there are countless religious beliefs that offer humans all sorts of explanations and rites to find relief from their tribulations, and rules of behavior with their peers whose breach would bring punishments after death. But religions are the product of the human imagination, concretized in dogmas of faith. They are not the result of experimentation or reasoning, which is the only thing that leads us to the truth. Ethics. Ethics is the set of behavioral norms established by the state to ensure harmony among humans within society. The individual conscience of each human has two elements: knowledge, which is limited, and will, which is relative. Universal conscience has the same elements, except that knowledge is absolute and equals truth, while will is represented by the laws of the universe, which are infinite and immutable. Non-compliance with the norms results in punishments for transgressors applied by the state itself. Humans are the only ones responsible, individually or collectively, for our survival and well-being. The state. In the animal kingdom, power over groups is exercised by the strongest, and this was likely the same with primitive humans. In modern society, power is exercised by the state, which is the organization of public power. However, there are isolated groups within society that skillfully manipulate political power as a source of the state, through corrupt or violent methods, for their own benefit. The flaws in the organization of the state are responsible for its failure to achieve the objective for which it was created, which is the well-being of the entire society. Corruption, violence, impunity, and social injustice cannot be combated except through true democracy and an organization of the state that ensures the continuity of development plans and the independence of control bodies from the interference of political parties. Control bodies are responsible for supervising public officials to ensure they comply with and enforce the Constitution and the law. Democracy. Democracy is the form of government in which the opinion of the majority prevails. True democracy cannot exist until education is universalized and the entire population of a country is made aware of their rights and duties. Fanaticism and violence. Political and religious leaders train humans, as the animals we are, stimulating them through fear or food. They appeal to instincts instead of the mind. Once trained, it is impossible to change their habits. Humans are fanatical through this system, so they do not accept reasonable arguments as they should. Leaders use their power to stay in it. They deploy intelligence agents everywhere to learn about the people's problems and needs, but not to solve them, as that requires much effort and money. Instead, they seek out the names and locations of leaders who might be at the forefront of possible protests to make them disappear. This tactic is more effective and economical. Conscience. The individual conscience of each human has two elements: knowledge, which is limited, and will, which is relative. Universal conscience has the same elements, except that knowledge is absolute and equals truth, while will is represented by the laws of the universe, which are infinite and immutable. Humans are the only ones responsible, individually or collectively, for our survival and well-being. Conscience. Humans have the freedom to perform actions from the most sublime to the most atrocious. This can only be controlled by the conscience of each individual or by society represented by the state. Therefore, it is crucial to choose very carefully who governs us, especially those who establish laws, to protect all society. Personality. All humans can have a personality. But the first condition for this is to have knowledge of the facts surrounding the topic in which we are required to act. Even with knowledge of the facts, a weak will can lead us to act against our principles. In this case, our personality is null. How is it possible to make democracy function normally without manipulating people's minds? Only education can open the possibility for a person to act with sufficient elements of judgment. Their own interests will guide them. This explains why, although the poor are the majority in any country, it is always the rich who govern. And therefore, they will never have an interest in the poor being educated. Norberto Drada Ocampo.
Cali, abril de 2008.
Author, Organization of the State to Ensure the Integral Development of Colombia. Year 2000.
Cali, Colombia.
Cover symbol. The black color represents the darkness of the night, the white, the clarity of the day, the yellow, the power of the sun and wealth. The message is, moving forward, the night of poverty and backwardness will diminish, and the day of progress and prosperity will expand, as the power of democracy and creativity is applied.